In this video, I want to go over a flashcard program called Granule. Now, Granule can be installed on both Linux and Windows, but this video is going to focus more on the Linux machine. And I have Ubuntu Mate, so the system you'll see here is the Ubuntu Mate. And if you've seen some of the videos before, you know that that's the operating system that I like to use. It's not saying it's the best, but it's one that I like to use. For me, it's the best. Now, I do have a link to it, so if you found this on YouTube, you can go and see how to install the program. You can read more about the features, because I'm going to show the basic features on putting the word in front, putting a definition, and an image on the back. You have lots more choices than that, but that's the features that I use with the students that I'll be focusing on. Now, here is a link to the website where I'm adding vocabulary words for a list of fifth graders that are learning fifth grade science. And so I've already created one for week 1. These are the words that I will be creating in this video. I won't show you all of them, but I will pause the video so you'll see what the final product looks like. Now, what I did, since this is a PDF file, if I copy and paste, sometimes at the end where it ends, it creates a big gap in the words on the back of the card, and when I'm copying here, sometimes it will copy the numbers. So I just copy and paste this, put it in a text file, and fix the format so that it will wrap properly. And this is going to be the name of the new set of flashcards. So let me show you now the program Granular. So when I go to Education, click on Granule. Now, when you first install it, it places itself in Accessories, but it's very easy to move it in the Education folder. But when I click it here, this is the first dialog box that you're going to see. It's the program itself. Most of the time when you're going to open a new deck or create a new deck, you go under the File menu. Here you just have Quit and Preferences. The preferences are where you can change the look and appearance of your cards. Most of the things you're going to do it through the Deck menu. You really don't see, I can't really do a lot here because I don't have a deck selected, because I haven't created one today. Now, I did create one yesterday when I built my web page, so I'm going to show you how that one looks, and then we'll create a new one. So to open an existing deck, click on the Deck menu, click on the Open command. When you do, it will pop open, and since this is the last menu that I had selected, it's in that menu already. If not, you can just navigate to the folder where you want to open your deck. Now, if you were creating a deck, you would have to go to the location where you was wanting to save the deck. So here's the file that I created yesterday. Notice it's going to have a .dkf extension, file extension. So I click on that one and hit select. It doesn't immediately open the card set. It just adds it to your deck. So I can open up multiple decks here and click on them to study the deck of my choice. So if I want a deck 1, then open deck 2, 3, 4, 5, or however many, then I could double click the deck that I wanted to study. So if I wanted to study this deck of cards, which is the only deck right now, I double click and it pops open. Now, by default, it's showing me the back card. I guess that's the last time I used it. So I could click to say open on the front card. To navigate from the front card to the back card, we have little tabs below. This is the word on the front. If I want to look on the back, I click the back. Here is my definition, and you can choose the different locations to put your definition, but I chose to put it at the top since I selected an image to be placed below it. So if you look at the term is mass, here's the definition, and here is an image. If you know the word, you can give yourself a thumbs up. If you don't know it, give a thumbs down. If you think you partially know it, give it somewhere in between, and be honest, because that way it will keep up with, you can go here, you can say to show your status toolbar, which if you click here, and if you say show your answers toolbar, it'll have here where you sometimes can fill in the blank. I don't have any fill in the blanks, but it will keep up with your if you know them or not. So I'm going to disable that so we can focus more here. To navigate to your next cards, you use this arrow key. Now notice over here in the lower right hand corner, it shows you this is not a fraction 1/12. This is the total of number of cards. This is the cards that I'm currently looking at. So to navigate to your next card, you can click show next card, and it goes from mass to weight. Now I can click the back card, and you can see the definition, and you will see an image. You can click the front and back to navigate your front and back of your card. Then you click next, and it will show you the next one. So on and so forth, and I can navigate all the way till I get to card 12. So this is the way that you navigate your card. It's almost like taking an index card, writing the word on the front, flipping it over, and looking at your definition on the back. But the thing I like about this is, instead of taking the time to draw all of these images, you can use Google or Bing or any of the search engines and locate you some images to put on the back to help you remember these definitions. So now you see what it looks like, the program. Let's actually build us a new set. So let me close. Now I'm going to close it completely out, so that way we're not going to have a deck here, because when you're starting to build this from the beginning, you're not going to see an existing deck. So if you were to just install the program, when you first open it up, this is what it looks like. So if you're going to build yourself a new deck of cards, you're going to go deck new, and when you do, it's going to create an untitled deck. Here you're going to right click on it, and you can either choose save or save as. For the first time they both work the same, but then from then on, save will save the name that you've already named it. Save as will allow you to rename the file. So I'm going to choose save to show you that it works as the same as. It'll bring you up a dialog box, and when it does, it says untitled one copy. It's because it had the original here yesterday. So I'm going to come in here and copy this right here, and I'll show you why in just a second. Yesterday when I created my goals, it was 5P for 5th grade physical science goal 1, and it was the first set of motion and forces definition cards. So I can come up here and I can paste this one as my second set of cards. Now I did overwrite my extension, my dot, my period. Always make sure between your word or what your name of your file is that you have a period between the extension and the file name itself. So I'm still on the same goal. This is just a second list of words for my forces in motion. So when I click save, it's not really going to do a lot other than name that deck. So we're not really ready to start this deck just yet. Now if you are now ready to start the deck, just double click it. When you double click it, it's the same as when you wanted to study a deck. The only difference is this is an empty deck. It says untitled up here. So what I do is I'll come down and click on the drop down menu. Let me pull it up some so you can see it. When I click this drop down menu, there's a list of options you see here. Some of them are dimmed out because there's no deck here to apply it to. The one that we want to focus on is the edit deck. Now the reason why edit deck here, it should say edit deck / create deck, because for the first time that you're creating your deck, the edit deck is your create deck. You can also use the shortcut keys alternate D. So when you go here, it's then going to give you a little menu across the top, which is this is to add a new card to your list, and so far we don't even have a list. Here is where you can edit a selected card. So if you want to go back, you can choose a card in the list, click that, and that allows you to edit it. The next one is auto-filled card fields, where you can place fields in there and it will fill them up with the things that you have associated with it. This allows you to delete a card, where you can click onto it, hit the delete button, and it will remove it from the list. You can reorder. You can click on one at the lower list and keep moving this up, and it moves excuse me, it will move a card up on your list. You can click this one to move a card down in your list. This one will add a selected card to a box. When I first opened it up, you saw there were multiple boxes. This allows you to add it to a certain box. Here's your preferences, which gives you like things to where you can bold, italicize, or so on and so forth, change the fonts and colors. This allows you to save a deck or save the changes to your deck. So let's now go with add a new card. Here's where you put the word on the front of your card. Here's where you put the definition on your card. And here's where you can place an image, or you can choose sound files to apply them. And I'm not going to put a sound file. So to speed up things, I'm going to go with my balance force by copying it. I could probably type that in there just as quick. But front, that's the word. Then I'm going to go get the definition. That's a long definition. So I'm going to copy. Then I'm going to paste this on the back. Now for my image, I'm going to click Browse. Now here's my pics folder. I went ahead and found an image for each of those. That's the folder that contains the pictures for my first card deck. I double click here and the word was balanced force. I click on this one, hit select. You're not going to see immediately a picture immediately, and I actually stuck it in the wrong one. So I can copy this out and paste it down here, or I can go to Browse. I go back to my pics and I can choose the one that says balanced forces. So I don't want the picture on the front of the card. Now if you do want it on the front of the card, you just do what I did. Go to Browse and select it. Here's where you want it on the back of the card. You browse for your image. This is the definition, this is the image, and if you were like a grammar teacher and wanted to use, if you had a word or a couple words that I have here, you can use that in a sentence to give it some context. But since that's the definition, I want to associate an image to it. When I hit OK, it takes me back to my list. I can also in that box hit the plus, which will allow me to create another new card, because I want a deck with more than just one word and definition. So I can just keep clicking this one from now on instead of clicking OK and then hitting the plus button. So when I go over here and hit unbalanced forest, copy, put here, say that, paste that on the front. I come here and get the definition. I will paste this into the back, not the example. Now here's where I want to go get my image of unbalanced forest. I go into my picks and I choose unbalanced forces. Then I hit add. I go to my next word, which is momentum. I'll do two more words, then I'll pause the video and then I'll show you how to finalize your card set. There's the momentum. I'll get its definition. I'll put the definition here. Momentum's the word I want to get an image for, so I go to my picks folder and I find momentum. I select that. Now I'm going to hit OK. This shows you that I've created 3 cards in my list. So right now I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to finish this out and then I'll show you how to finalize your list. So I'll be back in just a few moments. Okay, I just completed my last word. This is where I got speed time graph. There's the definition, and here's my image. I'm ready to hit OK. So I now have 12 cards in my list. So I have my whole list created, and I can stretch it out and see them all with the definitions here. And you can see I have all the definitions on the back side, all the terms on the front. So now I want to click here to save my deck, and it's going to save it with this name up here. So when I click here, it saves that deck. Now when I hit close, it takes me to my deck where I can start studying them. So this is my second set of words. So if I go front, back, and there's my definition, here's my image. I go to the next word. There's the front, here's the back. I go to my next word. There's the front, here's the back. I go to my next word. Here's the front, there's the back. And so that you know how to use the thumbs up and down to learn those. And if I did have sounds for each of those, I could click that and it would read it. But like I said, trying to record the definition for each of these and the words is very time consuming, especially since you're going out and looking for images. So the images is something that I had to do across the internet. Now if you wanted to bold these, you could do that. And let's go back to edit the deck. I'm going to say edit deck, and it takes me back to my deck. So if you wanted to bold each of these words, just double click. Well, actually don't double click here. You can look at the preferences here. You can say to bold it. Through here you got your custom appearance. You can change your fonts. You can change your colors. You can change the alignment and all that. I'm not going to change it here. I'm going to show you something different. I'm going to double click here, and when I double click it, it shows you where I created the front and the back card along with adding a picture. When you have this here, it's almost like a little miniature Word or a little office. This you got paste from clipboard, so you can paste your text instead of right clicking. Here you have remove all your tags. You got make a selection smaller, apply superscript, subscript, apply bold, and then here's apply italics, monospace, make the selection larger. So if you want to make your text larger and bold it, I'll show you how to do that in a moment. Remove extra spaces and add a reference index. So if you had spaces, you can select where you got a bunch of spaces, click that and remove them. So if you wanted to make it bold and larger, you click select your text that you want to bold, then say apply bold text, and it puts the HTML for that. And then also if you want to make it larger, if you look, this is make selection bigger. It's going to put extra tags here. So you really don't need to know HTML. It does that for you. So when I go back and hit OK, now I'm going to save this one so you can see that balance force is bolder and larger than the rest of these. I'm going to hit save. I'll hit close. Now I'll go back to my very first word, because you can see here I'm on word number 5. So if you hit the back buttons, it takes you back, and on mine I got sound preferences. And if you look there, bold here, and not so bold. So you can see that you can go through there and make them bold and larger for each of your words so they're more distinct on your card. So that is how you create a deck using a flashcard program called Granule. Hopefully this video has been helpful to you, and have a great day.